Good morning. Let's get started here. Good morning, Tony. Everybody. All right. So a rare down opening. We haven't seen one of these in a little while, I don't think. Let's see how far this one goes. All right. So yesterday, we all know how prices rallied up into the close. They bought the dip again. And it certainly yesterday looked like today would be, well, a gap up today, I think would have been definitely sold into, but now we got this lower open, and now I'll just have to see if this unfilled gap up here gets filled. But across the board, everywhere prices are gapping down toward areas of major support. So I usually have this on a 5-minute chart, the 24-hour, but change it to a 60 just to show where prices are at. So this would be the starting point if we were going to get a deeper pullback where we see the hourly violate the trend. That hasn't happened yet, but the retracement is deep, which puts the trend in question. Right? Common sense. As prices are moving up and you get accelerated moves and then a consolidation and then a breakout and another move, well, the further it gets away from some support, and this, we're looking at a 24-hour chart, so we see this consolidation, but consolidation and then a continuation of the trend suggests further continuation of the trend, even if it results in a shallow pullback or sideways consolidation. But when the retracement is deep all the way back down to where the move started, it puts the trend in question. Right? Common sense. So 319, we're gapping down below a green bar's low. So short-term bearish, we'll see if it continues. But as prices move up and got this gap up, and then a continuation, a gap below a green bar where I wouldn't really call it that much of a range expansion bar, but a little bit. So as I spread that out, you can see it's a little bit bigger than these as it was moving up steadily. But I really wouldn't call it a wide range bar. We'll be talking about that on Wednesday, but it is a little bit of a range expansion. So, and now it's gapping down below the low. So that's a short-term bearish pattern. Yet it's sitting on this overnight support here. And now we'll just have to see what happens in the first 5 to 30 minutes, whether that's going to continue and whether we get some kind of a pullback in this unfilled gap down here, which is relatively big. To get filled, its prices, if they break the prior low here at 317-ish, opens up the door to a relatively big decline, but it wouldn't violate the trend on the daily time frame. Right? Bill, I'll let Dan cover that since we were looking at Apple yesterday. Dan, Bill is going to be asking about a covered call on Apple. We can touch on that later. So short-term bearish open here. Greg, is the bottom of your chart an hourly time frame? This is an hourly time frame, so I can change this so it's easier to see. Usually it's a 5-minute, and so today I changed it to an hourly. So there you go. You can see 60-minute. This is a 15-minute weekly, 60, and daily. Okay, so let's continue. Let's see what the Qs are doing, which have been showing a little bit of relative weakness as the S&Ps have been playing some catch up. And you can see this is not all the way down to the swing low, but more at minor support. So I came down relatively strongly vertically and is retracing up to where you would think it could roll over. So again, wide range bar down, retracing up here. We'll see if it rolls. Right now it's just stalled there. And so what was the low here? 240. Not breaking below the low, would have to get down below 238 which is down here at this bottoming tail bar. So now showing a little relative strength compared to the S&Ps. And now that's a relatively narrow bar. This has got a big gap down here. So we'll see if that gets filled. And we're right at major support, 150-ish. So nasty, not a nasty, but a bearish gap, gapping down here to the bottom of 2 bars. So absolutely short-term bearish within an uptrend. It is at this little high right there. And let's straighten out that line a little bit. That's right there. And so a gapping below 2 bars, right? Obviously more bearish than gapping below 1 bar. But within an uptrend, gapping below a bar, and especially a narrow range bar like this where the momentum was beginning to stall and there's an unfilled gap down below in the 200, that breaking below here, there's really nothing to stop it from dropping. So we'll see what happens here. Well, transports, we don't get data, but pre-market, gap up and crap day and then the inside bar. So we'll see if the airlines and truckers and so on, if they start to come in here, which, begins to open up the idea of when is this market ever going to correct and pull back a little bit. So this was a long correction. It was about 6-7 weeks of chopping sideways, and then this advance, which is sizable, from this low here, which was a breakdown failure. It just makes sense to have some type of at least a minor pullback within an uptrend, and then we see if buyers step up again. And as we covered the other day, the internals here are, up in the stratosphere, so to speak, that this value is up. Let's see what it is. 0.7. Right. So it's got above the 0.8, which is historically already extreme, what you got here, and a little sideways correction. And now it's at 0.7. And breadth is up here at 326. Now, having an extreme in breadth coming off of a low like it was here, that's a positive. But now it's been trending for a couple of months. And so the extremes, during that time, that sideways correction, working off those extremes, coming back down to a bullish level. And now it's up here, and after this amount of time, it just makes sense to have some kind of pullback at a minimum. Right? Red is the 200, McGraw. Yes. Red is the 200 MA. And, all right. So let's look at the Dow. All right. So what's the low? Yesterday's low is 272.90, gapping below it. So again, other than the NASDAQ 100, everything's gapping down to yesterday's low, which means all the buyers that were expecting the gap up to sell into or continuation are now thinking, well, is this another buy the dip, add it? Am I now caught into something that's going to get bigger? Right. So all of these patterns create expectations. Right. Yesterday's expectation was to go higher. Now that's put in question. And if the buyers don't come in here relatively soon at the open, more traders, institutions start to think, let me take some money off the table. Take some off. Let's see if it pulls back into the gap fill. We'll put it back on there, and so on. So short-term bearish, beginning of the day. Let's look at the futures. You can see really not a big deal, in an uptrend, but it was up here and coming down to the low. It's the beginning of the day. You can see it there on major support, and if it breaks below here, the selling is likely to start picking up. until, let's even call it here, this little shelf down here. Right? Prices move between support and resistance. That's how trading is. And people look to the left, right? Some look to the left with subjective things like fib levels and trend lines and, those type of things that really don't mean a whole heck of a lot. But, institutions look at, well, this is where the buying was. So where am I going to want to buy? Well, I'm going to want to buy somewhere down here. Right? Unless it can create some support where there isn't any. Right? So that's one of the other concepts. It either pulls back the support or it creates support. So sideways, push higher, right? Deep retracement back down. So far sideways at support, which means here's where the buyers would want to be. It's not going up. So short-term bearish. If it breaks here, those buyers that stepped up here to hold it say, oh, it's not working. Let's get out, right? Really not a big deal. The ones that bought up here, right, they're in some pain. The ones that bought here, just dump it and take the little loss, right? Because it's smart trading, buying down here and seeing maybe it goes all the way back up again. It's been working recently, even on deep retracements. Qs, not a big deal, but a narrow day, right? These red arrows are when internals had said, hey, be careful, right? Some kind of correction is likely, and it was a little minor pullback. This one was sideways. And here's another one. We'll see if it breaks below this low. You see right now it's showing relative strength. It's not at the major support. So we'll see if this rolls over here or whether it can, just a sideways day. And it is at, right, 10,000. Big whole number, has a psychological effect. But that being said, while this isn't a pivot down here, a break
Yeah, good morning, testing. This is Dan. Can you hear me? We did lose Greg. All right, Greg, we lost you. Hey, Tavo decided to not go fishing today and to join us. All right, I'll just take it over, Greg. If you get situated, just take it back. Yeah, Alex, Tavo was out trying to fish for his dinner last night. You caught a skunk? Nice. All right, our opens are fine. A couple, the bullish ones against us a little bit, but we have been selling a lot into strength. Let's just go through them here. The weekly Amazon put spread all-time high, still uptrend on the 15-minute chart. So no problem with that. Hey, look at bottom right here. Look at our little Zynga perking. That was just a beautiful, see that, this is a great lesson. I'm gonna have to grab a screenshot of this. When I when I talk about buy setups, a buy setup, very simply, McGraw, your drop down got messed up. So a buy setup is an uptrend, and we're looking for retracements to support and a reversal. But when you hear me always talking about a retracement from a V as in Victor, top, as opposed to a square top with multiple bars, this is picture perfect. And I want fluid bars down. Let me write myself a note to do a lesson on that. Zynga. All right, so we're long Zynga, but let me continue with the weekly options traders. We have 7 opens. Boeing, we have a call spread. This could be the turn. We might maybe look to add to it. 30-minute low. Dunking call spread for Friday. Jets. Yeah, we're short naked calls. So 30-minute low, we can add to this. Microsoft, we did a put spread. It's holding fine. Snap put spread, gapping down here a little bit, but we have the 19s. And Walmart call spread. Tighten the stop, so that looks fine. Swing and options trader, CNX. Beautiful, beautiful breakout. 2 breakdown failures. That was beautiful. Gall, typo, you talking to me, Robert? Gall, we still have a 3rd position, little airline we've been trading. We took our profits yesterday on Azul. That was another nice little bottoming airline. Tavo has an affinity to South American Airlines, and that's why we're in those 2. Microsoft, we're long stock, in addition to the put spread, and we're going to leg into a covered call, 5-minute low. But that's a beautiful pattern. Kind of a 1, 2, 3. You can add over the highs, particularly with a gap down like this. If this were to trade over yesterday's high, it was McGraw says it would be more better, because then it's negating the gap down and following through on a bullish pattern. Cruise line, you would add now. All right, I wouldn't because of the market, and that's just part of our checklist. Why do you want to accumulate longs here when we're uncertain about follow through? If the internals were not cooked, then I'd say, okay, it's gapping a minor support here. If it can hold the pre-market lows. Wow, look at McGraw saying I am certain. Wow. All right, well then I think you should go get a job on Wall Street. If you're that certain, I'm sure they can throw a couple billion at you. So we have a covered call on Norwegian, RRC, beautiful. This came from someone in the room yesterday. Reverse head and shoulders, tight consolidation in a sector, uptrend, daily, weekly, 15-minute wide range igniting. It was perfect. And I love when I get trades from you all. That was one. SWN was in the weekend letter. That's actually another reverse head and shoulders. That's beautiful. I'll add that to my head and shoulders file. Almost done. Tyson, long stock, little gap down. This is another candidate that we might leg into a covered call. And Zynga, we already talked about. Beautiful buy setup. Somebody on YouTube's asking, would that be a good put spread? The answer is the pattern, absolutely yes, but you have to go through the checklist. What's the checklist? Is it optionable? Are they tight spreads? Is it good premium, good credit for the days to expiration? Is there any pending news? Is the broader market okay to enter? Is it on your do not trade list? That's the checklist. But the pattern is the first step of the checklist. And I'm telling you, yes, it meets the first step. But I'm not going to go through the rest of the steps right now because I want to look at gappers. Look at this crazy move. Wow. We're doing this Wednesday MT live on wide range igniting bar, on wide range trading wide range bars in all different shapes and sizes and colors. Wow, wow, wow. Look at that. Look at that. And now this is what we call, that's what we call an end of day rally, but it's an end of day rally coming out of a base. Now, based on this gap up and rally, this is a candidate for a day trade short if you get a bearish pattern setup. What would a bearish pattern be? Well, climactic sell setup, breakout failure. M top would be the one that I like the most when you're fighting something strong. But look, it's gapping up 100% and it's extended. Where would you check pending news? Yeah, Yahoo Finance. You could check the Tavo. It totally depends on how aggressive you want to get in. The smaller time frame you use, the more aggressive it is. So Tanya, you can go to the company website. You can just do a general Google search. If there's anybody else who knows of any websites to check pending news, yeah, and shoot it out. Oh, I didn't even know what. Oh no, that's IZEA. I for a second I was thinking, is that IKEA? I didn't know IKEA was public. This was earnings, Brown something or other. It's an ADR light volume. I got no interest. Okay, Trader TJ just gave you a link. Tellurd, another retailer talking about bankruptcy. You got all these companies in bankruptcy in the sector, with the sector ETF back to all-time highs. That's just a total head scratcher to me. You've heard me say that every day for the last 3 months. Macy's here was in the paper. It actually, got some funding, some financing, loans, and so forth. So that's giving it a little pop, but there's no setup to me. TLT. Yeah, I mentioned that yesterday as a put spread. But yeah, it looks higher. It's in a downtrend, so you're just swimming upstream for a little ride. It looks like target, somewhere in here in the breakdown area. But yeah, you would have had a better entry yesterday. Tilray, yeah, definitely. If the entry on Tilray is yesterday's high. Yep, if it triggers, we are in. Or I'm in, at least. Wow, this trade's very spotty. 85-cent stock that had earnings, no interest. Eugene, BERX, BERX, I got no symbol. WRTC. There's no pattern to me. Now compare this, folks. Remember I talked about a buy setup on Zynga? I said I like them to come in smooth. This is a V top. I'm just talking about the way that the bars are retracing. This is what we do not want. We do not want these red, green, gap, tails, overlapping bars. This is an ugly retracement. So I got no interest in this. Halik, you're saying MIC. I don't know if you're saying your mic is not working. Neil, yeah, check our Chesapeake's on my gap list here. I read in the paper they're now talking bankruptcy. Wow. Everyone who is still holding in this bar is now in pain. That's what you get when you play with junk. Symbol Mike, all right. It's up multiple bars, still looks higher. I can't tell where it's opening pre-market. I'm going to be very cautious on new longs here today. You know, I want to wait 30 minutes or so and see what the market does, unless we get a nice gapping stock. Wendy's here. It wasn't earnings, but they said something about their earnings. I mean, recent sales being better. SMG gapping up 146. That's a big gap. McGraw put spread candidate. Put spread. Put spread. I think this had earnings. I can't tell what you're doing. Beyond. This is gapping down. This is one that we had a put spread yesterday, another beautiful wide range igniting. Wow, this looks very similar to RRC, reverse head and shoulders, wide range bar. Wow, I'm gonna have to, let me do myself a little note on that one. That was beautiful. Very HENC. If HENC can get over the Friday's red bar, then it's okay. Otherwise, I have no interest. Eugene, wow, that was a beautiful gap breakout on Friday. Look, this broke out and it rested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. 6 days it rested. I always like to see where would have been a no-brainer entry. Now it gapped up Friday and it was sloppy, slop. It didn't make it easy. I wouldn't have bought here. You know, you can be a Monday morning quarterback and say, oh, look, I would have bought right here. No, you would not. If you were a pattern trader, you wouldn't. But right here, the 1, 2, 3 at resistance after a higher low, higher high, that was your no-brainer entry over 46.71. That was your entry. And now, if you're just trailing pivots, look, new stop, new stop, new stop, new stop. Very, very easy management using pivots. All right, let me continue. We got 1 minute to go. MOV, can't tell where you're gapping, but you're extended. That was earnings. GCO gapping down. It's a bearish gap, extended. FCell earnings gapping down. Wow, that thing's been dead. All right, 10. Okay, so this is a bearish gap into a wide range ending. So this is a day trade short candidate. Day trade short. Target, you know, maybe 950-ish. Here, let me show you. Well, here, Jets, I mentioned we're in. Yeah, I think airlines, we can get some more shorts today. But look at this gapper. Wow, look at that wide range bar yesterday. Now you're gapping up again. This would be a bear. Look at Beyond selling off. So glad we took our money. This would be a bear call, you know, setup. Let me hit a few more of these gappers here. Hey, here's a 1, 2, 3, 4. That's worth watching. If that can close like that today, you can buy over the highs. Oh, that already fell. That's the one I just talked about. HDS, no pattern. Love. Tavo is always in low. Gapped up, came in, no pattern. Mike, NBR. Yeah, NBR. Yeah, call spread. Sure. Over yesterday's high. Sure. Go through your checklist. 5-minute low. It's extended. It's a climactic sell setup on the weekly. It's at the 200 bearish gap. Sure. Let's see. The high's 87. Q's strong. Q's breaking pre-market support, whereas the other three are falling. Amazon is off to the races. We had a put spread on that. Apple did not trigger yesterday, but I sent out an alert saying they could do a 5-minute high. NBR.